Hey everybody, we're a couple of meeple, and as you've probably already seen from our review on Wilderness War, which was our last video, we really love it. It tells such epic stories, so in addition to our standard review of the game, we wanted to show you just how those stories kind of play out and evolve during gameplay, turn by turn, as the events unfold and each battle is fought.
Right, so what you're about to watch is a live session report of our most recent Wilderness War game. I'm actually playing as the British forces beginning in 1757 at the dawn of the French and Indian War.
And I am playing Les Français.
Yeah, what he said. So this is a couple of meeple embedded with Wilderness War.
Okay, so Wilderness War. I'm obviously playing the French. Represent. So typically in the past, she's played really conservative as the British, and she has built up forces, moved forces, but has never really pressed me to where we have that cluster of forts in the center of the board by Ticonderoga. And so in my starting hand, I have got some pretty excellent cards. I've got an ambush card if she tries to attack me, and I've got a card that's going to reduce troops to full strength. So I'm going to try and bait her into attacking me and sieging one of the forts near Hudson Carry to inflict a bunch of losses on her forces so I can strike back really quickly. I've also got some cards that are going to let me raid, and if I successfully raid, cause some major damage by eliminating units if I have raided. So we'll see how it goes. I usually like to raid down from Ohio Forks on the far western edge of the map because she usually leaves it lightly defended, and lots of Native Americans down there, so I can just send them turn after turn to go down there and raid her stockades and cultivated spots, which will get me points. So in the past couple of games, she hasn't made a strong effort to take Louisburg from me early. It's always been kind of a late game move for her, which I think has worked against her. So if that continues, I should do okay. I should win. But if she decides to switch strategies on me and attack Louisburg early, I don't know that there's much that I'm going to be able to do. It's going to turn my whole strategy into dust. So we will see what happens.
Okay, I'm going to be super honest with you guys. My hand's not very good. But I'm actually kind of glad. I'm just going to try and show you exactly what I have, but it's mostly blue events, and I'm the red player. So I think what I'm going to do my first turn, I'm going to try and get some fortifications down. I might start moving towards going to Quebec, I think. Not really sure what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll start where. I have all of these Indian Alliance cards. I have 3 of them in my hand, which I'm just going to use for operations on my turn. I think I'm going to build up some forts or fortresses, because I'm going to eventually probably move in on some of his fortifications and try to take something from him, maybe a port or something. But to do that, I need to be in supply, and I'm not in supply right now. I also have a couple good cards where I can actually get some more units. I have this one, which is awesome. I can get some more troops at any port that I want. So I might see kind of how he's going to play it. I might play that towards the end just to see where it might be better for me to have more units. Then, yeah, it's a pretty boring opening hand, but I gotta tell you, I'm really glad he doesn't have some of these cards, because they'd be really useful for him, and I'm just gonna throw them away, so it's gonna be awesome. We'll see how this goes. Okay.
Okay, so we are moving into the second round of 1757, which is called the late season. So a couple things I need to, we both need to be worried about is the end of this hand of cards. Anyone caught out who's not in a fortification is going to have to roll for winter attrition over the winter. So that is kind of scary, given that I moved Montcalm, who is probably the French's best commander. I moved him down, and typically I have moved him down the river to defend Ticonderoga, but last time we played, I was trying to do a lot of raids around behind that whole like mess battle zone and raid down behind her. And I did okay at getting into position and capturing the stockade that she has there, but my modifier for my commander wasn't very good. So this time I'm taking Montcalm, who gives me a +2 bonus to any raids or battles that I'm doing on my rolls. So that's one thing I'm trying to do, is trying to get him around. I need to construct outposts as I go so that he stays in supply, so I don't have to worry about attrition. And one mistake I made was that I didn't build a fortress there. When I built fortresses, I wasted an operations points, and I should have started building a fortress there instead of to replace the stockade that I had originally put down. So we'll see if that ends up mattering. The second thing that happened that I didn't expect was she ended up taking her two best generals, which are Loudon and Abercrombie, who can transport 7 units with them when they move, and they already had a huge fat stack of British regulars with them to start the game in New York. And I expected her to bring that straight up the river and hammer me at Ticonderoga, but she didn't. She ended up taking them out to the west. And I'm not quite sure what her game plan is. She sort of met them up with some of her provincial units, which are like American soldiers. So I'm a little worried about what she's planning with that. I get the sense that she's maybe mounting for an attack on Ohio Forks or possibly Niagara, because it scores her extra victory points. And I do not have a lot of defenses up near Lake Ontario. So that should be a really interesting turn strategy for her and where she goes with them. This is a drastic shift in normal strategy.
What do you mean?
Trying to keep her on her toes. I made a couple of really disastrous Indian raids that I probably should not have made way down at the southern end of the map that she was able to stop, basically. I successfully defeated her militia in battle, but which is like crazy that happened, but I also was not able to raid the stockade, so my Indians have each taken a hit from those raids, but I think it gave her something to think about from being down there, so we'll see what happens with that. On the bright side, I've gotten some amazing cards in my hand this turn. Not only did I hold my ambush card from the last hand that I had, but I drew another one, which is really, really going to mess her up if she tries to attack me. Hopefully I can cause her some losses. The other thing that happened was I was able to get rid of one of her Highlanders cards, which would allow her to recruit a couple 4/4 units. I was able to pull it out of her hand at the very beginning of the turn, so that was a huge, huge lucky break for me. She's not going to be able to get those reinforcements and crush me, which it's looking like she inevitably will. The other card I've got that I'm going to play, probably the very first thing this turn to get card advantage for this round, is Courier Intercepted, which is I get to randomly steal a card from her hand. So that should be interesting. And the other thing I'm going to do, I think my first couple of rounds are going to be probably events heavy. So the final thing I'm going to do before I start moving my soldiers around again is eliminate some of her provincial units with this card. Can't decide if I'm going to do north or south. I'm thinking south because she's really mounting up down there, and I need to like keep her honest and like be able to like raid into the south for the rest of the game in order to score some points. So no one's on the board yet. But that will probably change this turn if I can get some raids off and maybe catch her armies out of supply when winter attrition rolls around. So that is the plan, and hopefully my good rolling continues. So
I'm back. So this hand, way better than last round's hand. I was so pissed that he got rid of my Highlanders card like first turn, and I really needed those troops, but we're gonna make it work. So this turn, I actually have a lot of events cards, so like I'm going to show you probably one that I'm probably going to play first is this British colonial politics card, so that's actually going to help me a lot like later in the game, so it's really good that I got this. It's better for me to advance it before he can make it a -1, but then even if he has the -1, because I don't even know what he has in his hand, I can like correct it and make it like go in the middle, so that'll be good. One that I'm really excited to play is actually this one, because I think he has a general called Montcalm, which is in like a mountain space right now. I'm not really sure what he's doing with that guy, but he has a shit ton of, well, pardon my language, he has a lot of Indians with him right now.
I think I do. 1, 2, 3, 4 Native Americans with him, so they're gonna go with Montcalm.
And so by playing this could be like detrimental. I'll like make sure you can see it. Yeah, so I want to play that one. I also think that this card is really funny. Canadian official skims royal accounts. So actually that means he's going to have to discard a card, which I never really know when to play this. Like, play at the beginning. I mean, I have a couple other cards that are probably better to play in the beginning, but maybe like mid-turn when he's like about to like, after he's gotten rid of some cards that he like doesn't really need to play. Well, I don't know, maybe I should play it earlier. Anyway, always good to have him just discard a card because it could be one that he really needs. So that's always good. Another fun one that some of these cards, so these ones with the red band means I can play it out of turn. So like if he's about to move, I can actually, there's a thunderstorm. Oh no, he can't move. So I might play that. I don't know. It's also 2 ops if I end up not using it, so that's good. And then, oh, this could be really good. If he is actually, so this could be interesting. I might actually wait to play the smallpox card after I've played the massacre card. This is going to be an epic turn. So the massacre card, if he like takes a stockade, so I might like actually just wait for him to move down and like take one, and then I can like move in and use this card. If he has drilled troops and Indians, then I can use it. But what's awesome is I get a VP for that. So I might want to wait and see what he does with Montcalm before I play the smallpox card. Smallpox card is actually also useful in other spaces where he has Indians, just to like wipe out those units. So we'll see how that plays out. What's some other ones that I can use? Oh, so my dude Abercrombie is trying to make a move up to Ontario. I don't know, you could probably tell like from the previous one, that's what I was trying to do anyway. And so this card actually, if I can get some fortifications up in that area, this will stop his movement. So that's actually really good too. Kind of, so I'll try and like show you, like I have all these cards that are like interrupt cards essentially. So that means towards the end of the turn, he could play like 3 cards or 4 cards in a row because I'm not going to have a hand left. So I kind of have to play this right, react as best as I can to what he's doing. Let's see. Also, if I do manage to get Abercrombie up into Ontario, one card that I might play towards the end is this Colonial Recruits card, because then I can actually like get my units back up to full strength. Also, if I do make a move up to Ontario, at the end of this turn or into this whole round after we've both played all of our cards, my troops are going to be out of supply because they can't trace it back down to all the forts, which is what I was trying to build up, but as I was playing the first round I realized that's going to take a long time, so I think it's only like 1 or 2 step losses, or it depends on how many like troops you have with you, so I might actually hold this card and then on the next turn try and get lucky with a die and roll better, or get my troops up to where try and regain strength in my troops. So I think that's about it. So lots of terrible things happening. There could be a massacre, there could be smallpox, there's going to be like some bad weather, so this could be really bad for the French, but I have no idea what's in his hands, so it could be really bad for the British too. We'll see. I guess the only other card I should talk about is this amphibious landing card. It's actually the only way I can get up to one of the ports on one side of the board. But usually that's better for endgame because you have to like get enough troops organized to like make that move, so.
She hasn't made a strong effort to take Louisburg from me early. It's always been kind of a late game move for her.
I'm not sure if I'm going to use this. We'll see. So, go Brits. We'll see what we can do. Okay, bye.
I just stupidly moved Duma with the intent to build a stockade near Lake Ontario before winter rolled around, and I forgot to do it. Oh, no. I didn't move him again.
No.
So both of his marine detachments took step losses. So he was like the only guy defending Lake Ontario from any sort of incursion north. My only defense, he has an attack strength of 1, or a combat strength of 1 right now, so it was such a dumb move. Such a dumb move. Probably the worst thing that happened to me that turn was doing that. Thankfully, she spent most of her turn building supply lines for Abercrombie's army, who's like slowly moving north. Still no idea where he's going, but the fact that she had to spend a lot of cards to get those stockades built behind him so that he wasn't out of supply was a really big deal. Which leads me to believe that she's probably going to be sieging me at one of the forts I constructed this turn, which is something I did because there are a couple choke points near Ohio Forks and near the eastern part of Lake Ontario where she could just sweep up with someone like Johnson, who's like got a ton of attack strength. So I need a way to slow them down so they have to siege those fortresses, or at least stop when they're moving to them. I managed to really luckily use Courier Intercepted to grab the Massacre card, which would have given her a point when I stole a stockade from her, which I ended up doing later in the turn with Montcalm, which was my original plan, which is to move down kind of around her line near Ticonderoga and snag the one stockade she had just sitting there at Charleston, which I ended up doing. Despite her playing foul weather to slow me down, which was good. She played bad weather. He couldn't move as far as I wanted to. He was able to stop, build the stockade, stay in supply, activate again, capture that stockade, which got France a point, which they were then up to 5. They're now up to 6 at the end of the turn. And that's because on the final card, I was able to send a Coureur de Bois to raid Deerfield, which was 1 space away, and he successfully rolled on the table. He successfully raided Deerfield. That got me another point at the end of the turn. So things are looking good. Unfortunately, she played Smallpox, which eliminated all the Indians that were with Montcalm, so that kind of slows down my raiding plans. And she played... so all those Indians are gone, and she played all of my Northern Indian Alliance cards in the first year, meaning that I don't get to play them to recruit like the Abenaki and the other tribes that are near Quebec. So I'm going to have a really hard time getting points out of those raids, which really sucks. So I might have to send Montcalm himself, which puts him in danger of dying, but we'll see. The upcoming turn was a couple of things. I drew these, and she's already played one of them, and there's only 3 in the deck, which means that she is not going to be able to attack Louisbourg at all this year, and until the deck is reshuffled, there's no chance she's going to be able to get a amphibious landing to attack Louisbourg, which she needs to be able to do that. I got another British Regulars card. I got one last hand too, which means she can't reinforce with her most powerful units, which is just hugely lucky for me. And I did manage to draw one last Northern Indian Alliance card, which means that I will be able to get some of those Northern Indian tribes back into the mix to try and raid her near Deerfield. I've also got Ace in the Hole, the Surrender card, which I'm thinking about playing real early because it will allow me to attack her at Hudson Carry North, which is near Ticonderoga, where most of my forces are and most of her forces are. Without having to worry about rolling on the siege table. So what I need is to attack, have her retreat into the siege, and then activate that commander again, play Surrender, and take the fort from her, which will advance my front and also get me some victory points. So that should be pretty good. So I've really got to press this turn. I've really got to get a lot of victory points because the longer the game goes, the weaker I get, the more spread out I get, and it's going to be really tough for me to win those key battles to get points, and it's going to be really tough for me to capture her forts and stockades, and I'm going to have to get creative with like outside routes of raiding and stuff like that, and raiding is never a sure thing. So this is going to be a critical year and a critical phase of the game if I am going to win it.
That didn't quite go as planned. Though the Smallpox card that I played, super effective. I'm so happy that that worked out that way. Though I felt kind of bad doing it at the time because it just like wiped all of his people out, but smallpox.
Oh my god, that is the worst thing ever.
Smallpox, man.
Oh, it's gonna eliminate all the Indians there.
Yeah. Anyway, so one thing that I completely forgot to mention last time is that when you're playing these cards, I mean, obviously you can tell by now, but you can either play them for the event or for the operations. And like, I kind of forgot that most of my good leaders that have a lot of goods with them cost 3 operations points to move. And so Abercrombie was just kind of like chilling there in the mountains. But my 3 ops cards were so good, like smallpox, for instance. Actually, I don't know if that's 3 ops. I have to go back and look. But so I wanted to use them for the events and not for the operations points, which then left him hanging out in the mountains. So then I actually had to like kind of at the very end just build a bunch of stockades so that I wouldn't be out of supply. Because it's actually pretty bad. You have to do like step losses to all of your full troops, and that would have like, I would have lost like 5 or 6 points, and that actually like really comes into play when you're trying to take over another space. So I decided it was probably more important to just let Abercrombie like hang there in the mountains for a while. So we'll see what happens. So my hand of cards now, though, kind of interesting. I do finally have this. I have another British Regulars card. Hopefully he doesn't take it from me before I can use it. So maybe I can use that one for the points. I also have this campaign card. These are always useful. Also 3 ops, but it does let me like activate 2 leaders, so I'll actually get to activate 2 of my 3 cost leaders, which would be great. I also have a bunch of cards having to do with attacking or defending in a siege, so that might actually come into play. And I'm not trying to go after Ontario. I don't know why I keep saying that. I think it's because it's on Lake Ontario. I'm actually going after Niagara. I'm sorry, like total blonde moment there, but Abercrombie going after Niagara, and it's also worth an extra victory point. And I think if I win a battle, I get another victory point, because right now he's killing me. He has like 6 points, and all I need is 1 to win, but I only have like 4 more hands to play, so I'm really trying to like bring that marker down a bit. Trying to think like what else I can play this turn. Oh, this is like really sad. I have another of his like Indian Alliance cards, so I've actually drawn all of his Indian Alliance cards. He needs that. He really needs those, especially since smallpox wiped out the ones he had on the board to begin with. And then I got the Iroquois Alliance card, so like all the Indians coming to the side of the British. Pretty funny. I also have this Blockhouses card. If he tries to raid me, I might be able to play that to get him to affect his rule. So that could be something. But I think some special conditions have to be in play for me to actually use this. Actually, depending on who I can move with my campaign card, I may or may not use the Iroquois Alliance card. We'll see what happens. Especially since he's not going to be getting any other Indian units, it might not be really worth my while to try and get more Indian units on my side on the board. So I'm going to kind of see how things play out. But really interesting. This whole game is about like hand management and figuring out how to like maximize your hand, but there is that fine balance between choosing between events or ops, and so we're going to see how this goes. I think there's going to be some bloody battles coming up. But it should be interesting. So, go Brits. Let's do this.